Thorns of the Waking Court, a video novel by SDC Multimedia. Watch it like a movie, read it like a novel, or listen to it like a podcast. Chapter 6. The Grove's Chosen. The dream was not hers alone. Roots curled around her ribs, tightening, not choking, but claiming. She stood barefoot beneath the grove's altar once more, but it didn't bleed. It bloomed. Vines opened like mouths, red thorns sprouting from her collarbone, winding down her spine. The sky above the trees split, not with lightning, but with violet flame. The moon blinked, the altar cracked, and from within, a voice, blood, breath, bone. She turned and saw another, Alira, standing across the dream space, bare-shouldered, eyes wide, a mirror of Calla's own confusion. Her lips parted, but no sound came. The thorns moved between them, pulsing in time with something deeper than heartbeats. Then she woke. Calla sat upright in bed, gasping. The chamber was cold, the shadows long. Her sheets clung to her skin like moss. Outside the lattice window, the twilight never wavered, always dim, always waiting. Her wrist ached, not from yesterday's trial but something deeper. The brand the grove had left glowed faintly beneath her skin, like moonlight trapped in bone. And still she heard it, blood, breath, bone. She'd seen Alira, not a memory, not a metaphor. The grove had shown her for a reason. She rose, threw on the cloak draped over the chair, and slipped barefoot into the corridor. Halfway to her room, she saw her, Alira, walking toward her, hood up, pale and wide-eyed. They froze at the same time. "You saw it too," Calla said. Alira's voice was a whisper. "We were called. Then we go together." She nodded. "We must." The descent smelled of old breath and petrichor. Root walls pulsed with slow light, like veins remembering fire. The stairwell narrowed the farther they went, and the roots above creaked softly, as if shifting in their sleep. "They sealed it," Alira murmured. "Years ago. Said it was too dangerous, too awakened." "Why were you punished?" "I found it by accident. I didn't touch anything," she said, voice tight. "But the grove saw me. I came out changed. The court called it madness. Aerith called it treason. They broke my bond to the hollow and left me to rot." Calla glanced at her. "But you're still here." "Barely." They reached a wall that breathed, a weave of living bark so fine it resembled lace. It pulsed once beneath Alira's hand, as if recognizing her. She sang, not loudly, but with a voice that trembled at first, then steadied. A series of notes, like the hush between falling leaves. The bark unspooled, and the roots opened. The chamber didn't have a floor, it had concentric growth. Massive roots spiraled inward toward a central basin carved from black stone. The walls had no seams, just root, layered upon root, stained with old runes and copper-laced sigils. The ceiling disappeared into mist. The air tasted of iron and fern. Calla stepped inside, breath catching. Her skin prickled. The grove was awake. The basin glistened darkly. She stepped forward, drawn. In the reflection, her eyes weren't gray. They were green, glinting, and thorns coiled through her hair like a crown. Alira saw it too. "They're showing us something," she whispered. "Not what we are, what we could be." Calla crouched. "Or what they want us to become." Her fingers hovered above the surface. Water shimmered, but she didn't feel cold. She felt watched. "This is a mistake," Alira said. "I know." Then she touched it. The surface pulsed. Sigils beneath the basin flared, coiled root and open eye. Violet, not red. A single drop of blood welled from her fingertip and fell into the basin. The grove exhaled. A gust of breathless wind swept outward from the basin. The roots reared, not in hostility, but in reverence. A shape rose, 7 feet tall, faceless, crowned in thorned branches, draped in moss. Its body was bark and black vine, woven together like the old gods of bone and ash. The grove spoke through it. Blood, breath, bone. You have given. Now receive. Alira staggered back. But Calla stood unmoving. The roots lashed forward, not to attack, but to wrap her wrist. The brand from the trial glowed white-hot. It split, grew. New lines etched themselves into her arm, violet veining up the forearm, blooming into a sigil of interlocked roots and a single eye. A second heartbeat began in her spine. Calla's breath caught. She wasn't just seeing, she was remembering. Not her memories, the groves. She saw visions. A court half consumed by roots. Riven standing in chains of vine. Aerith kneeling at the shattered throne, blood trailing from his mouth. Elias at her side, sword raised, eyes hollow. And herself, unmasked, crowned in thorns, bare feet rooted to living wood. Every beat pulsed with prophecy. A path not yet taken. When she opened her eyes, the grove was fading. The sigils dimmed, the basin stilled, the figure unraveled into mist. Calla swayed. Alira caught her elbow. "You're still you?" Alira asked, breathless. "I think I'm more." They climbed in silence. Alira glanced at her wrist again. "It didn't mark me. You didn't touch it. Maybe it didn't want me." Calla didn't answer. The roots around them felt quieter now, but not still. Listening, they reached the corridor and stepped back into the hollow's higher tiers. And the waiting was over. Elias found them first. He stood with his arms crossed, no blade drawn, but his gaze was thunder. "You were seen," he said simply. Alira bowed her head. "The grove called us. You disobeyed the king's seal." "We obeyed something older," Calla said. Footsteps echoed. Riven emerged from a side hall, adjusting his silver-threaded cuffs. "So the rumors are true." "What rumors?" Calla asked. "That the grove has found a new voice." Then Aerith arrived, cloaked in dusk-hued robes, eyes fixed squarely on Calla's wrist. The mark hadn't faded. If anything, it had grown brighter. "Bring her," he said. They entered the hollow. The court was already assembled. Balconies bloomed with masked nobility. Drifting lights illuminated the obsidian floor. The air shimmered, not from heat, but anticipation. Calla walked beside Elias. Riven trailed her like a second shadow. No one touched her. Everyone watched her. The root warden shifted in its corner, amber chest glowing faintly, as if it too knew what had occurred. Aerith stepped onto the high balcony. The room fell still. "She is no longer bound by the court's trial," he said, voice low but amplified by root magic. "The grove has made its own decision." The murmurs that followed were sharp, slicing. "She descended into the forbidden hollow," Aerith continued, "and was marked, not by crown, not by mask, by root and oath." Calla stepped to the center of the dais. Slowly, deliberately, she raised her wrist. The sigil flared, green, silver, violet. Light spilled across the floor. One of the lower masks cracked. Another noble stumbled back, clutching their head. The grove's pulse rippled through the room. The root warden bowed, head dipped low, amber glowing fiercely. "She is root-bound now," Aerith said. "The pact is sealed. The grove has chosen a new bearer." Calla turned slowly, facing the sea of masks. Not in fear, in defiance. "I didn't choose this," she said aloud. "No," Aerith replied, "but neither did I." Riven's voice came soft behind her. "So, a grove-marked girl in a cursed court." Elias stepped forward slightly, still silent but present, protective. Calla met both their eyes, then looked up once more at Aerith. She was no longer a trialing. no longer an offering, and the grove whispered once more, blood, breath, bone. End of chapter 6.